guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Leo's Nerd Talk, and today we're going to be talking about Monkey Man. So let's get into that. Now, Monkey Man tells a story about a young kid who loses his mother to some sinister evils within India, and as he's grown up, he's on a huge revenge story, becoming the Monkey Man. Now, this movie was super interesting because it was being produced by Jordan Peele, and I love Jordan Peele's movies. I think he's a great director, and him being a producer alongside the director Dev Patel, I thought this was going to be an amazing movie. And from what it looked like, to me, it looked like an Indian John Wick. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the pros for me. And my initial pro is that our main character, the Monkey Man, I thought did an amazing job in terms of just his acting ability, showing his emotions, his choreography. I'm not sure if he did all of his own stunts, but it seems like someone that would want to do his own stunts. And I think he did an amazing job in all the action sequences and all the different dramatic sequences. So I do really enjoy his acting abilities within this movie. I think he was definitely the strongest one, which is good when you have a main character. Where all the other ones kind of seemed a little lackluster, our main character here did seem like the strongest actor and really the only focal point of this movie. I also really enjoyed Dev Patel's directing style. I think he had a very clear vision and a very unique style that I actually really enjoyed. It definitely was a lot bloodier than what I was expecting. Of course, this being an action movie, kind of like a John Wick flick, the blood was going to be there, but this was definitely a lot bloodier than what I was expecting. There was some really awesome action sequences. The choreography was done very, very well. The camera work, well, at times was a little too choppy and, kind of shaky where you couldn't really always tell what was going on. For the majority of the time when it was having some action sequences, especially towards the third act, I thought it did a very, very great job of showing the action sequences, and all the choreography was done very, very well for being some very brutal, awesome action fights. And I keep saying John Wick a couple of times in this review, but I do like that they kind of mention John Wick. He's not a character within this universe, but he's just a movie star like we all know him as. They're basically, this story is taken in our universe and they know who John Wick is because of the movies. I thought it was kind of funny that they mentioned him in when he's trying to get one of his first weapons, and he's like, "You like John Wick? We got the new TT Glock 34. Not the real one, it's made in China." And I thought that was just a really funny, unique thing to put in there. And I'm really glad that it is something like that, because every time I tell someone about this movie, all my buddies and friends and people that I know that aren't like versed in the kind of movie world, they're not in the movie world, they're not looking at movie news all the time. They don't know what Monkey Man was. It was kind of this movie that they've never heard of, never seen the trailer. And every time they ask me, like, what is it? What's Monkey Man? And like I said, I keep referring it to as the Indian John Wick, because that's the way I kind of referred it to as when I look at the trailers, because it's a revenge story with some badass action sequences, some awesome gunplay, some awesome fights, some great choreography, and just having that classic revenge story very similar to kind of John Wick. And while this isn't a huge underground massive world that they're trying to build out here and flesh out, I still do like and enjoy the whole kind of hierarchy of this kind of Indian family, and as well as like the police force, and how they have like these VIP statuses where you have like the regular people at the bottom, and then you have like the VIP section, and then you have like the super VIP lounge that goes a little bit higher up, and only certain people can go in there. And so I do like how they have the kind of like that little hierarchy within their little kind of group, in a way, this kind of criminal group, and how people get structured depending on how important they are kind of within this little group here. So I kind of do like that they do a little bit of world building of this kind of underground crime syndicate in a way. And I also enjoyed this kind of clan, I guess, in a way that our main character gets brought into and is being helped out, and they're trying to help him heal and all that kind of stuff. I do like this kind of clan that they bring themselves into, and they also help him out in the third act, where he is going against all these kind of members of the crime syndicate kind of group and stuff. And then these girls come in, these women come in, and they're kind of like assassins in a way, where like they're sneaking about. They have all the same outfits, like ninja assassins, but the Indian version, which I thought was super awesome and very dazzling the way it looked. And they also did really good in terms of like all their fight sequences and all the different choreography that they did. So it was definitely a very cool, epic fight battle scene where you have like 20 people all at once in this very small kind of VIP lounge, just brutally killing each other and having this awesome, awesome fight with some badass music in the background. And speaking of music, I do also really enjoy the soundtrack slash score within this film. I thought they utilized some kind of modern music very well as creating their own kind of music that definitely fits with the theme and the location of where they are. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and get into the cons. And while I do really enjoy the majority of the action sequences, especially towards the third act, I think that was the strongest. A lot of the action sequences towards the first and middle act were filmed in a very choppy way, very static kind of camera work, like I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, where it's very, very difficult to kind of see what's actually going on. And you get kind of confused on what's going on because it's shot so close while they're fighting, very shaky, very choppy. So there's so much going on and it gets a little confusing. So that those first kind of two acts and the way the fight sequences were filmed were a little difficult to kind of suss out what exactly was going on screen because there was just a lot going on. And I do think the middle act was a little paced out, a little too long. It was kind of a very slight kind of fighting montage and training montage, and all they were really doing was showing our main character punching a heavy bag while the other guy's playing his drums, and that was going on for quite a while while it's kind of cutting to different sequences and scenes and going back and forth between that, and then the whole him of healing, and then him also going back to this kind of like wrestling ring where he has a kid bet on him. And that whole sequence, while there were certain elements of it that were cool, I just felt like it got a little fleshed out and a little boring at certain moments of that. And another thing, I wish they would have fleshed out this whole wrestling kind of arena ring that they kind of showed a lot within the trailer. Well, I like that in the trailer they didn't show the rest of it and didn't spoil stuff. I felt like that would have been a very unique thing to kind of focus on, at least a little bit more than what they did, where you have him as this monkey man and you get an explanation of why he's the monkey man and why he likes that character, which I think is kind of a okay explanation. And I understand because there's an emotional connection to that as well. But I just wish we would have fleshed out this whole kind of wrestling part of it because I felt like those sequences were kind of just him to get cash, where it seemed like it was gonna be a lot more important and there's gonna be a lot more things going on within that realm of the story. And it was kind of more just like a cash grab for him, where he had people bet on him to get money so he can do other things to help him with his overall revenge plan that he's trying to achieve. And also, the whole Monkey Man outfit doesn't really get utilized that often. Like, he only has it on during those wrestling matches, and those wrestling matches last maybe like 2-3 minutes, and then they go through this whole kind of sequence of him like bleaching his mask, so it goes from being that black monkey mask to the white one, which we see in the trailer, and they make it seem like that's gonna be very significant, or that's gonna be like his way of hiding his identity while he goes, and achieve his full on plan that he's going for. But he bleaches it, he puts it on, he walks to wherever the person he's trying to kill is, and there's two security guards outside, and they see him. They're like, "Hey, stop there!" And he takes it off, throws on the ground, boom, 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 beats them up real quick, and then runs and does the rest of the movie. The rest of the movie goes on, the rest of the third act. Like, that mask, especially how they made it feel like very significant of him bleaching and making it white for it to be used for maybe 3 minutes in the entire runtime. So there was just different things where I felt like it wasn't utilized properly, and I wish we would have fleshed out certain things and we could have cut out other aspects of it and implemented other things that I feel like would have been more important and overall lead to a more entertaining movie. And there was a couple of characters where I felt like they were going to be more significant as a villain, and they ended up not being too significant. They ended up being defeated fairly easy. There was a lot of characters in here that I just feel like were not fleshed out at all, and I wish we would have gotten more with these characters, more reasons, more just overall emotions of the characters. Like, you had this kind of like main boss lady that they call her the Queen of Kings, and she's just there bossing some people around. You know, she owns like a restaurant. She's bossing chefs around. She gives people money to do certain things and whatever the case may be. And there's this whole sequence where she gives someone money to go do a specific thing, but then we never see that specific thing, and it sounded kind of important. And then you have this character that's kind of like her right hand man, the henchman, that he kind of gets implemented into it just to get money for our main character, and then he's never really seen that often. He's kind of just in the background, or he's just kind of following what's going on because now he's kind of a fugitive within this crime syndicate in a way. And then you have this female that seems like it's going to be kind of a romance figure, and they kind of hint at that, and they kind of seem like they do have some sort of connection, but they never follow through with that. So there was just a lot of characters and plot points that I felt like were not fleshed out enough, we weren't told enough about, and I wish we could have gotten more. And it sucks because I was really excited for this movie. I still thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of moments of this movie that I absolutely loved and I absolutely enjoyed, but there was some disappointment at the end where it did have some satisfying moments. It did have a very somewhat satisfying ending, but there was a lot of aspects of it that I didn't really enjoy, didn't really sit with me. It wasn't as entertaining as I hoped it was going to be, but overall, I still think it was a fun movie to watch. Definitely a movie you should definitely check out. It's not one to miss because it's still fun, it's still entertaining. Definitely something I will see myself rewatching again. But let me know what you guys thought about Monkey Man in the comment section down below. I still had a fun time with it, you know, despite all of his flaws that I mentioned, but it was still a good fun time with some cool action sequences and some very visceral fight scenes that ultimately led for just an entertaining movie with some flaws in the background. And again, if you guys like talking about movies, TV shows, or video game related, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next review. Thank you.